There was a time in our country when things were clearly better, but at the moment things are going exactly in the opposite direction. We care about having a country where the state functions properly. We also see how much is wrong, from infrastructure to the truly excessive bureaucratic regulations that paralyze our authorities and massively burden all other public processes, all the way to our middle class, which is severely strained by this. We do not want that. We want a functioning state with functioning structures that ensure that the interests of the population are truly safeguarded. Another point, which we clearly reject because it is repeatedly the subject of debate, is the issue of compulsory military service. We reject any form of compulsory military service. At the moment, the focus is on voluntariness, but we are already hearing voices loudly saying that it's still voluntary now. At this point in time, it's still. Another point, which we clearly reject because it is repeatedly the subject of debate, is the issue of compulsory military service. We reject any form of compulsory military service. At the moment, the focus is on voluntariness, but we are already hearing voices loudly saying that it's still voluntary now. At this point in time, it's still voluntary. We need a convincing security architecture. And this security architecture must, at least in the long term, naturally include Russia. There is no other way. We must avoid a war with Russia, because that would be a nuclear war. And I want to emphasize again, it is often portrayed differently. No weapon, no army in the world can protect us in a nuclear war. Diplomacy achieves that, arms control treaties achieve that, and good relations with neighbors achieve that.
We are experiencing a toxic mix of war loans, which will burden the economy and the state in the future, without them productively creating anything for the country. We are in the third consecutive year of recession. We have rising unemployment and a dilapidated infrastructure, and we say that action must be taken now. We want to lower energy prices, an important issue for both unions and business associations, who repeatedly complain that energy prices are too high. We are saying that purchases must be made where it is cheapest in the market, and that does not mean U.S. dominance over European energy policy, which Donald Trump aims for, but rather a return to Russian gas and oil through pipelines, which from our point of view can also be a diplomatic step, a door opener to end the Ukraine war peacefully. We are opposed to CO2 pricing. We already have excessively high energy costs, and in this situation, where energy costs are already weighing down the economy and burdening the citizens, artificially raising prices to educate people is the wrong approach in our view. Another important point for us is trade policy. We are currently seeing how Germany is being run over. We had a tariff conflict with the US, which ended with a so-called deal that does nothing more than a kowtow to daddy. We pay, so there will be a 15% tariff on European products, but 0% on US products. And they are still fudging with the steel addition. Now, for a number of products, the tariffs will continue to rise. Additionally, the US is pushing us into further economic wars that are not in our interest at all. On one hand, we already had an economic war with Russia, while in Germany, the industry is faltering. Behind our backs, they are negotiating Putin, and Trump are negotiating bilaterally about new economic relations. Germany is out of it. Similarly with China, Nexperia, the chip manufacturer in the Netherlands, was also taken over by the Dutch government under pressure from the US. As a result, behind our backs, they are negotiating Putin, and Trump are negotiating bilaterally about new economic relations. Germany is out of it. Similarly with China, Nexperia, the chip manufacturer in the Netherlands, was also taken over by the Dutch government under pressure from the US. As a result, the automotive industry in Germany cannot continue because the chips are not being delivered. And again, the same pattern. Without Europe, without Germany, Trump, it seems, is coming to a bilateral agreement with China.